Hello everybody, how's it going? Welcome to my channel. This is my second video, but I figured it'd be very important to do an intro. As you can see, I'm a Padres fan, lifelong Padres fan, so you can only imagine how excited I am for this year. I've never seen my team this good, and it looks like we might have a long run. Hopefully we go deep in the playoffs. This is day 2 of playoffs, so I'm very sad about last night's or yesterday afternoon's loss, but hopefully we get back to them today. Okay, so I grew up in San Diego, and in middle school I was obsessed with cards. Middle school and early high school. In fact, I used to bring cards to school, and I had a group of friends, and we would trade. I also, at the time, there was a drugstore called Thrifties. Anybody remember Thrifties? Yeah, I'm a little older than I look. It's now like, I think Rite Aid took it over, or CVS, one of those took it over. And Thrifties had these like rack packs for like cheap back in like the late 80s, early 90s. I'm a junk wax era kid. And so I would buy them there, and then I'd go to school and resell them at lunch and during recess or break time, whatever it was called at that time. So that's my background. I also used to sneak onto like a golf course as a kid with my friends. We'd dig around in the bushes, find golf balls, go wash them, and then resell them back to the golfers for cheap. So I've always had that entrepreneurial spirit. And I've also had a passion for baseball and a love for sports cards in general. So now, come January of 2020, or February actually of 2020, before coronavirus, before pandemic, you can't say that word on YouTube for whatever reason, but before the pandemic and all this happened, I had just gotten my collection, my personal collection, back from my parents. I had just inherited another collection from a deceased family member. And I went to this garage sale and bought this like 10,000 card collection for like $75. So that was kind of before everything started really beginning to pop in the industry. It's almost like my instincts told me about it, and I got back into it. I also got back into it for some other very personal reasons. So, I spent the first half of this year just kind of going through the cards and organizing them and selling some off. A lot were junk wax. I do have some like real vintage, nothing past like 95 or 96 that I get. No amazing cards, but a lot of fun stuff that I found and just like looked to. And for a while, it was kind of a distraction. It was just taking up time. But I found myself like waking up and looking at my phone and just looking at cards. And I found myself falling deeper and deeper and deeper into it. And I've always said this, like in the back of my head, I always said like soccer is something I wanted to get into, soccer cards, even though at the time they weren't the hot commodity they became. Or if they were the hot commodity they became, I didn't know it. It was just something I was like interested in. Soccer is also the only organized sport I ever played. I only played one season when I was like, I don't know, 10, 11, something like that. So it was a while ago. And I just never got into soccer, but this time period off, so to speak, allowed for a lot of time. So I started getting into soccer. I started learning soccer, getting back into soccer, and then obviously my Padres were doing very well. Then I started digging deeper and deeper into cards, and I started predicting cards. I started finding players like, oh, I bet this card would go up. And I didn't buy them, but I just found them on my own, like just really listening to what was happening in sports and who was doing what. And I would see that they'd go up. Some would double, and none of them were like really super giant cards, but still there were players that people kind of ignored or forgot about, and you'd watch them double and triple and just go up. Excuse me. So that's my background. I'm here entering the hobby, entering this industry for these reasons. One, I PC Tony Gwynn. I also am on a mission to get every single Padres baseball card to ever come out, ever in existence. I have no idea how I would track that, and I have no idea how I would know if I was done with that. If somebody has a clue, please clue me in. So that's what I PC currently. I'm expanding into soccer slowly. I think soccer's still a little bit of a long-term hold, but there's some flipping involved. I am here to flip, to invest, to collect. And as I grow in the hobby, maybe I'll expand my PC a bit more, and I'll get some very specific special cards that I like from players that I like that may or may not even be on the Padres. I was a San Diego Chargers fan, but when they came to LA, I don't know. I mean, I'm in Los Angeles nowadays, and I've been here for 10 years, but I'm on the fence for the Chargers. We don't have a basketball team. Basketball's not been my thing, but I know it's like in the hobby, it's like the #1 sport at the moment. Although I think soccer will overtake that eventually. So I'm probably going to explore basketball. I'm leaning towards the Lakers. Honestly, I mean, it seems like the quote-unquote obvious choice, but I am in LA. I have been here for 10 years. I know the Clippers were originally from San Diego, but I don't really care about that. But we'll see. I make no promises on what team I like. I'm just going to, I'm holding off on this season, getting into next season. Because right now I'm studying soccer, and that is a lot. It's way different than any other American sport. It's giant. I'm probably going to start watching some Charger games and maybe some Ram games and just see if I really start to take to one of those two teams again. So that is my background. I feel like I have great instincts, and I really began to focus in on those during 2020 and like really just follow my instincts on a lot of things. And I see that I'm right a lot, but not always, because it's not a perfect science, but enough for me to believe that my instincts are pretty strong. So I do like to follow those. I like to follow my gut. I'm also can be very analytical. I'm not as much a numbers guy as I feel like I have a good understanding of what's happening in society and how certain cards and certain players and certain people on social media will influence things in a specific way. So that's my background. That's what I'm here to do. I have this video series where I really want to test my brain, and I think along the way I will learn a lot, and therefore hopefully you'll learn with me if you pay attention. But my goal is to do this. I'm going to take some recycling, like cans and bottles and beer cans and bottles and like water bottles and that type of thing, and just recycle them. Then I'm going to take that money and purchase a card or cards. I haven't decided, and I'm not taking a ton of cans. Like, I'm guessing it'll be $10 to $15 worth, and I'm gonna see what I can do to keep on flipping and investing, flipping and investing, flipping and investing, flipping and investing cards in all sports, any sport, maybe even non-sports, like gaming, like Pokemon, or Star Wars card or whatever. I don't know. We'll see where the adventure takes me and how the industry goes too. And the goal is to keep on flipping that up to at least $1,000. And that's $1,000 cash. That's not $1,000 liquid card. That's like $1,000 in a PayPal account or in ComC, one of the two. No, PayPal. The rule is PayPal. It has to be in my PayPal account, $1,000. And also with that, the other rule I have is that I cannot get it graded. So I can start with a graded card. I can buy a graded card and flip it. I can do all of those things, but I cannot get a raw card and send it out for grading and have it come back. So my two rules: $1,000 in my PayPal account through just flipping these cards. No other sources, just flipping this card. I will have a separate PayPal account just for this card, or just for this experiment. And then I cannot get this card graded on my route to $1,000. $1,000 is a very arbitrary number. I just pulled it out of nowhere. So that amount could go higher, or I could find that I really want a very specific card that's $1,000 or above, and I have to trade my way up to it, flip my way up to it, whatever. And so I'm hoping what that will do is really, 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 really teach me the industry. I mean, I've done a lot of research. I have a very large knowledge of the industry at the moment and all the websites, but I'm hoping that that will teach me even more what to look out for, where to go to buy cards, because there are other sources other than eBay and Facebook and Instagram and COMC to buy cards. There are tons. They're all over the place. You just have to know it. So I will be teaching you guys about those too. I'll be watching and learning and growing and be sharing my knowledge on that adventure with you. And hopefully it could be like a good learning series. I think I'm going to call it Recycling for Cards. And we'll just see what happens. Hashtag Recycling for Cards. And that'll probably be a playlist on the YouTube. So I'm going to get that started kind of soon. Maybe next week. I need to go turn in some recycling, and I'll be vlogging and doing this type of thing with it. So that is my background. I will also be sharing advice I've learned and thoughts I have and hot takes and maybe some mail days. I don't really like doing that too often, but I might if there's a very specific card I'm excited about or I really want to talk about, because I feel like it could be a learning opportunity for people. I'm not here to push players on you, push cards on you, because I really, really, really believe this. There's always another card, period. Just always another card, period. I mean, in my route to flipping, like recycling for cards, I'm probably gonna be talking about a player or a card because I think it could go up. That's because I need to try to make a profit and try to flip my money up. So there's that. So yeah, I'm not here to push cards on you. I'm not here to say, hey, buy this, buy this, buy this, so I can go resell it. But that's inevitably going to happen. Like, cards are gonna come out and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna buy this card and talk about the card and tell you the reasons why I think I'm buying it, because I want to flip up. And what I've discovered through this time is I'm really good at finding bargains. I have all sorts of tricks up my sleeve that I will share with you on this journey. But I will be posting on a regular basis, maybe even daily. Not all of them are going to be recycle my cards. Some of them are going to be hot takes, advice, thoughts, mail days, like I said, maybe even some interviews eventually. So if you're interested, please like, please subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram. I post regularly. It's Sports Cards of, and then on Instagram, Sports Cards of IG. And then on Twitter, it's just Sports Cards of. And I even have a Facebook group, Sports Cards of FB groups. So I'll see you there. Thanks for tuning in. And remember, there's always another card.